Hello everybody, I'm Nora Burrows. A couple weeks ago we made some quilt blocks for an improv quilt block exchange I'm participating in, and today we're going to make 4 more. The theme for this time is wonky shapes. So to start, we're going to cut out some wonky shapes and then we'll look at the instructions for what to do next.
Let's start out with this piece here. This is a piece that already exists that was just in my scrap bin, and it is kind of like this wonky shape. So I think what I'm going to do is sew a piece of fabric onto here. This piece is also a very wonky shape, and I should say that the first step was to cut out wonky shapes, which I already have some wonky shapes, and the second step said attach a piece of fabric onto one or more sides of the wonky shape. So that's what I'm doing now. So I think I'd like to attach this. Let me think. Actually, I think I'm going to attach this piece onto here. Now I need 4 blocks. That's the start of 2. Let's start one more, and then we'll add the 4th later. But let's just start a couple for now. So I have this long strip. I'm going to try and make this into a wonky shape, which can be more challenging to be wonky than one thinks. But I guess this feels kind of wonky, right? If I do something like this, it's kind of a wonky shape. So what are we going to add onto there? I have this piece that's already sewn together. I kind of like that. We could put this brown strip and then add that. That's kind of cool. What else? Actually, I just found this piece. So let's put this piece on first, and then we'll add this piece. And in addition, I just found this, which is already kind of a wonky shape with a piece put on it. So we'll use this as our 4th. And I'm going to put one more together here. So this was like this. I cut it in half. I happen to have this already pieced together from another project. So I'm going to sew these together. And then I'm not sure what next. Maybe I'll flip that over and then sew that to the end or something like that. Here's one attached, and I think I'm going to make a cut right here and then attach that long strip like that. So I made my cut here. Here's my other piece, and I think I want to sew it like this, but I have to start being careful because my block size needs to be 6.5 by 8.5, and this piece is already like 11 if I do the whole thing, so I'll have to cut it off down here, but I need to start thinking about size. This is another pretty large piece. I'm going to just start kind of trimming it up to see where we're at, and then I can decide where to add on to next. Do another cut over here to kind of keep it wonky like, maybe like this. Let me cut kind of an interesting shape out of that and see if I can attach it on. I cut this piece here, but what I think I like even better, I found this piece that I had made for a totally different project, but I could put that here, and that could look kind of cool. I think I'm going to try that. This piece is going to start getting a little strange, I think, but I think I want to put this piece of zebra here and then attach a piece of this over there, and that will just start to become really strange and wonderful. Now, the other thing I think I'm going to do, I have this one here, and actually I hadn't thought this through. What am I going to do next? I could do something like that. Let's put that on. I think I accidentally attached this onto the wrong side. I think I was actually supposed to put it over here so that then I could attach that, but that's okay. Let's instead, let me think, kind of make it like this. So the way that I'll do that is, how am I going to do that? Let me make a cut right here, and then I'll just sew that right on. I just had an idea. What I was thinking is, I think I might cut, so I sewed this on, but I think I might actually cut it off because I could put this on here like this, and I think that would look kind of cool. So to do that, I would just need to kind of trim this piece off here, and I could still even use could still even use this piece. I think I'll add another piece onto the other side here, and then I'll sew these two together. Let's trim this piece here to see what we are working with. I like this brown kind of triangle coming down here. What can we do? We could add a piece of brown there. I like that. Let's do that. I just trimmed this up. It's exactly 8.5 by 6.5, but I do have this little corner up here that I need to fill. And instead of trying to fill like that teeny tiny piece, which would get caught in the seam allowance, I'm gonna cut this a little bit bigger and then sew this piece on there. Okay, we haven't seen this one in a while. Let's, if I were to put this right against the edge like this and go out 8.5, let's see where that would put me, right here. Let's make that cut. And now I'm gonna turn it and try and square it up this way. And go 6.5 over. So it's 8.5 up and down. And then if I go 6.5 over, let's see where that puts me. So let's now make a cut this way, add a piece, and I'll pretty much be done with this block. See, this is the piece we just cut off. Let's add that. All right, first block done. I think this one looks pretty good. Let's put it aside and see if we can square off this one a bit to be the right size. So let's think. So let's make a cut here. And scooch it over. And go 8.5 over would put us here. And then 6.5 over, so we have 8.5 up and down. And then we'll go 6.5 over, which would put us here. And here's what we have for this. Let's put a piece of green in this corner, and then we'll put some of this orange psychedelic fabric over there. So I kind of made a mistake. I just put this piece on, but as you can see up here, it's not quite enough to reach the top. So let me trim this and see what we need to do to fix that. You know, it might get caught. It's enough that it might get caught in the seam allowance, but since this is a block exchange, I hate to give something like this to somebody. So, but I might just leave it. Is that horrible that I would just give this to somebody with that piece that hopefully will be caught in the seam allowance? It's kind of annoying, isn't it? Let's trim this other part over here. That's also going to get caught in the seam allowance. Whoever gets this block is going to be really agitated at me. I think it's okay. I think that, what do I think about this? Let me think for a second. I have more of this pink floral, so I'll put that up here. That's easy. For this here, I think I'm going to do something kind of crazy. What I'm going to do, and I don't know if this is going to work at all. This is a complete experiment. But what I'm thinking is, what am I thinking? Let me turn this around like this. I'm going to cut over this and make a curve. And then I'm going to try and sew them together. Oh, I should have had this fabric right sides together, actually. Hold on. which means this has to be right sides together. Okay. And try it again. Okay, so now what I think I do is, shoot, I think, you know what? I think I totally messed this up. Because, I need a seam allowance. So I need this to be a little bit, I need this piece here, I think, to be a little bit bigger. Maybe I can just estimate it. So I have my piece here. I have this piece here. If I put it on the edge and just generally go cut 1/4 inch around the edge. And then pin it around, and I kind of have to sew starting up here and go around. Let me just try and see what happens. Okay, obviously this did not work so well. I just kind of stopped halfway through because it was puckering over here and I didn't like it. So let's just kind of go crazy and cut this. And then we'll like sew it back together in a different way. Okay, so now we're back to this, and it's still 8.5 long. So, and I have this piece up here. Let me just trim that little weird curvy thing off. And I have this. So what I could do is add a piece of this to the end. Let me trim this. Let's sew these together and then we can add it here. All right, I actually think this is not going to end up being long enough, but that's okay. Let's just trim this and see what happens. Here's this piece, and it's almost long enough. I think what I'm going to do is push it up a little bit, trim this edge over here. Let's attach a little bit of a piece, like, let's do this. Let's attach a little bit of a piece right there. Here is the piece that I just sewed on. I will sew these right sides together right along here and then add a piece of whatever I need up at the top and then square that off. I have another block finished. This one here, I think it looks pretty good. If you remember, I just had to add the 2 corners on, and I love that this is just like the green triangles are kind of mirroring each other there. The zebra print is really fun, so that's a good one. The other one I need to start thinking about is this one. This one is still pretty small. I have these 2 pieces already sewn together, again from another project, so I could do something to incorporate this. Somehow is kind of working for me, but I would need to put something here. I have this black strip that I could add a piece to here and then add a piece kind of all the way down there, and that might look cool. Let's try that. Here's this piece. As you remember, I attached these 2 together and then attached that onto here, and then this big long black strip. Also, this is this piece done. Kind of crazy. I don't hate it. I kind of really love this piece right in the middle there. So that's that. What are we going to do for this one? So I don't want to square it up this way because I like it more. I like this piece, instead of to be a square, I like it to be a diamond, kind of like that. I think I want to enclose it. Perhaps I could even enclose it in the black. So I would add a strip here and then another strip. Let me do that. Here's this piece here totally enclosed. Let's make a cut on this side. Let's see what happens if we do, let's see, straight up and down like this. How far over that would be. So if we go 8.5 over, that would put us here. Let's make that cut. Okay, then let's see about 6.5. So if I go about here, 6.5. Let's make our cut here. And then go over 6.5 to here. Okay, so here is the block. We need to add a piece here, here, and then I need to trim this and add a piece up here. Like this. I could put this here, and I do have a white. I could do a white in the corner. I could put a gray strip here, and then maybe black on the outside. I finished this one a little bit differently than I said. Obviously I did the gray like we had talked about, and then I added some white up there and down here, and then I added black in the corner, but this black is a little bit a different shade than the black that I used in the rest of the block, which I actually kind of like. I think it looks cool. So this is this one. Let's look at the 4 of them together. Here they all are. This one, the first one we did, I actually just added these 2 elements here. I top stitched on top. I had made this bias tape for a different project and had this bias tape left over. So I just added it to that, kind of like rays coming out of a sun. But they're looking pretty good. I like them. All done.
So I know you may be wondering, what are we going to do with all of these amazing blocks? Well, tomorrow I have my guild meeting. I will exchange these blocks for other people's blocks. And then there's 1 more month to make blocks. Next month is the last month. And then we'll put all of the blocks together. We can look at all of the very many blocks. Now, we've only made a total of 8 on camera. I've done a bunch off camera, but the blocks that I'll be using to put my layout together are majoritively other people's blocks. Some of them are mine that I had received back, but most of them are fellow guild members. So that'll be fun to look at and then to start to put it all together. So subscribe so you don't miss any of that. I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.